Fever now! Bow, bow, bow! Also, would you guys look at this cute little denim set for Ozzy? In case you guys want to see him in it. Is that not so cute? Yeah, it's a standard dove column! Big dove!
The Indiana Fever just delivered a statement win that every Caitlin Clark and Fever fan will never forget. With their injured star cheering from the bench, her teammates didn't just rise to the occasion, they obliterated the Las Vegas Aces by 27 points. This kind of blowout wasn't in the script. Indiana hadn't beaten Vegas since 2019, they were shorthanded, and officiating seemed to favor Aya Wilson all night. But Kelsey Mitchell, Aliyah Boston, Sophie Cunningham, Lexi Hull, Ari McDonald, and Natasha Howard rewrote the story. And after the game, Mitchell dropped 3 unforgettable words that perfectly summed it all up. If you're riding with the fever, comment below, I've got the fever. Let's go.
Talked about we just made sure that our energy was high, made sure that we were focused, because obviously we know Vegas is a great team and they're a team full of winners. And so for us, it's making sure that we turn the page off of a great Commissioner's Cup success, and then we have to be ready for Vegas, and we were.
McDonald back on the attack, lays it in. Mitchell, beautiful pass, 2 more for Boston. Oh, catch and shoot, the next. Here's Mitchell left wide open, and Mitchell catches in with a 3. McDonald turns the corner and gets to the rim.
Picture the worst-case scenario for a basketball team heading into one of the biggest games of the season. You're up against the defending champions led by the reigning MVP, your superstar is sidelined with an injury, a key veteran has walked away, and several of your role players are overseas playing international ball. That was the exact nightmare the Indiana Fever faced as they prepared to take on the Las Vegas Aces.
No updates outside of she's out tonight, so just continuing to work and get her progress and make sure there's no setbacks.
With the start-stop nature of you guys this season to this point, having 5 in a row at home right here, what kind of opportunity do you view that as for the rest of your year?
I mean, I think it's a great opportunity for us. Sleep in your own beds for a while, play some games at home, in our home arena with this crowd. It is a great opportunity, but you also can't take the opportunity that you're playing at home for granted, right? We still got to come with that energy, that effort, that high attention to detail, intentional focus, and we've got to.
Caitlin Clark's groin injury couldn't have come at a worse time. The superstar who had completely reshaped the Fever's identity was now stuck on the bench in street clothes. She wasn't just their top scorer, she was the engine, the playmaker, the floor general who elevated everyone around her. Without her blazing speed and elite court vision, the Fever were forced to reinvent their entire approach. The team that once thrived on fast breaks and 3-point bombs suddenly looked disoriented, scrambling to rediscover who they were without their leader.
Caitlin and her status, just how did she look? How did she feel today during shoot-around? And is she making progress and getting closer playing?
She's making progress. I think, again, top of mind, I think I told you this afternoon, is just long-term. Now, making sure that we don't have any setbacks. Making progress and feeling good are 2 different things, and we want to make sure that she feels good. We want to make sure that she's confident. We want to make sure that we're not putting her in a position to have any setbacks, and that's the priority right now.
But that's not all. Dana Bonner chose to leave the team at the exact moment the Fever needed veteran leadership the most. Talk about brutal timing. Her departure came just as the team was gearing up for some of its biggest games of the season, leaving a thin roster even more depleted. With limited experience already on the floor, losing another seasoned player forced the Fever to scramble to adjust rotations and fill roster gaps. Meanwhile, Damiris Dantas was away representing Brazil in the FIBA AmeriCup, stripping the Fever of much-needed frontcourt depth at a time when they could barely afford it.
Harry, how do you feel about beating Las Vegas? You've been through a lot of them.
Yeah, I was reminding the team, I was like, it's been since 2000-something since I've been here. But, on the bright side is that, organizations go through certain things. There's lulls in every part of life, and I think for us in the Fever, it was our...
Here's where it gets interesting. The Fever weren't just battling their own setbacks, they were gearing up to face Aya Wilson, the reigning MVP, in the middle of yet another dominant season. The Las Vegas Aces weren't just any opponent, they were the gold standard of the WNBA, a dynasty in progress. And for Indiana, they'd been an unsolvable puzzle. The Fever hadn't beaten the Aces in 5 straight years. Since 2019, it had been nothing but losses. Vegas had owned them, and everyone knew it.
Here's Kelsey. Mitchell flips it to Howard, who lays it in. And Indiana's offense humming here in the opening 3 minutes. He hit 3 threes in that win on Tuesday. They're high on the season. Mitchell, shifty, gets to the rim.
Oh, it's the re-screen by Boston, and then this is rhythm here. Screen, re-screen, the twist action, the switch, and then watch the bump right here. Once you get the defender right next to you.
The sold-out crowd at Gainbridge Fieldhouse brought the energy, but even the most hopeful fans had to question how a short-handed Fever squad could hang with the league's elite. Fresh off a huge win against Minnesota that secured their first Commissioner's Cup title, Indiana now faced a challenge that felt far more daunting. The odds were brutal, missing key players, facing the reigning champs, and counted out by nearly every analyst before the game even started. But what no one saw coming was that this storm of adversity was exactly what the Fever needed. Sometimes, a team has to be backed into a corner to uncover its true potential, and Indiana was about to show the world just how dangerous they could be when everything seemed lost.
Coming off a big Commissioner's Cup win Tuesday, the Fever emphasized coming into this one how important it was to keep moving forward, to keep the train on going, to not have a hangover in maybe more ways than one, and they did not. It was a dominant display, bigger than I can ever remember here in recent memory with the Fever, especially when the star player.
The numbers paint a harsh reality of what happens when a team loses its heartbeat. Without Caitlin Clark orchestrating the offense, the Fever became almost unrecognizable. The electrifying, fast-paced, high-scoring style that had made them must-watch basketball vanished overnight. Gone were the rapid-fire transitions and crisp ball movement Clark delivered, replaced instead by sluggish possessions and a team seemingly stuck in slow motion, struggling to find its rhythm without their floor general.
What have you seen the last 2 games in particular against the Wings and the Lynx of the growth of this team without Caitlin on the floor?
I think first and foremost, defensively, we've been better. And that's continuing to build consistency in our coverages, have a high attention to detail in everything that we do. I think our activity, our awareness has been better on the defensive end as well. We've done a better job of protecting the paint. Now we've still got to improve in defending without.
Without Clark's ability to ignite the break off every rebound and steal, the Fever's pace of play dropped dramatically. What once felt like a blur of fast breaks and quick-hitting offense turned into a slog, with possessions dragging and momentum stalling. The team that had averaged over 90 points per game with Clark now struggled to even crack 80. Their offensive rhythm collapsed, and players who once flourished within Clark's system suddenly looked adrift, forced to manufacture their own shots without the setup artist who made everything click.
I think offensively, the ball's moving. Multiple players are touching it. We're getting it from side to side, getting it inside, outside. It's moving a little bit quicker. Our goal is to get to where we play .5 basketball. And when we're at our best, it's moving and it's popping, and ball movement and player movement as well.
But that's not all. The ball movement turned stale and predictable. Caitlin Clark's elite court vision and pinpoint passing had elevated everyone around her, but without her threading the needle through tight windows and finding open shooters, the Fever's offense became painfully one-dimensional. Players held onto the ball too long, forcing shots that weren't there, and the smooth, unselfish team basketball they'd played with Clark devolved into isolation-heavy possessions. No one felt the drop-off more than Aliyah Boston. The former college standout, known for her dominance in the paint, was barely getting the touches she needed to be effective. Her game depends on a point guard who can feed her in the post, but without Clark running the show, Boston often found herself drifting on the perimeter, watching the offense sputter instead of anchoring it inside where she thrives.
Some of the keys that you see as to how exactly you're going to do that, or what you guys need to do to approach the game successfully?
Yeah, I think we've got to be disruptive. We've got to make sure that we play with a level of physicality that doesn't allow them to just pass the ball around where everywhere that they want to pass it. So we've got to make sure that we're disruptive. We got to make sure that we're elite at our on-ball screen defense. This is a team that reads really well, that moves really well. We got to be elite at the point of attack on on-ball screen defense. We've got to. We always talk about guarding our yard, being able to guard one-on-one so we're not in rotation early. I think for us it's going to have to start on the defensive end of the floor, so that allows us to get out and run in transition as well. But we can't allow them to just do exactly what they want to do on the offense.
Here's where it gets interesting. Without Caitlin Clark on the floor, opposing teams cracked the code on how to shut the Fever down. Defenders packed the paint with no real fear of a consistent three-point threat, daring others to create their own offense and daring Indiana to beat them without Clark's limitless range stretching the floor. Against elite teams like the Aces, the Fever looked painfully average, still searching for a new identity and struggling to generate balanced scoring. But Kelsey Mitchell had been waiting for this exact moment. She had 3 powerful words in mind that would define what came next. As tip-off neared, Gainbridge Fieldhouse buzzed with electricity, and everything was about to change.
Got up as many as 27 points in this one. They kept their pedal down, which is important given what we've seen this season, en route to an 81-54 win. Complete dominance. They pummeled this Las Vegas Aces team. It was a 27-point win, and it wasn't even close after the first quarter. Once again, the Fever owned that second quarter in a big way. They outscored the Aces 25-10, which allowed them to go into halftime on top.
What happened next will go down as one of the most unforgettable performances in Fever franchise history. From the opening tip, there was a different energy pulsing through Gainbridge Fieldhouse, an urgency, a fire. The Fever stormed out with a level of focus and intensity that stunned everyone watching. This wasn't the same team that had been stumbling without their star. This was a squad on a mission, locked in and determined to prove that they were far more than just Caitlin Clark's supporting cast.
Backcourt, they get it into Evans. You don't often see that by a team up by 18, and it pays off.
The defensive pressure was suffocating from the jump. Indiana switched on every screen, trapped Aliyah Wilson the moment she caught the ball, and forced the Aces into rushed, low-percentage looks. The Fever were flying all over the court, deflecting passes, contesting every shot, and making Vegas earn every inch. Players who had seemed out of rhythm offensively suddenly came alive on defense, feeding off each other's intensity. The energy was electric, and the crowd at Gainbridge Fieldhouse could feel it. Something special was unfolding right in front of them.
Let's go! Let's go! Great job! Great job! Look, we held them to 26% from the floor. Nice. We got a couple of milestones. AB, 5th Fever all-time career rebound. Wow. Thank you. And then Kels, 700th career assist. Thanks for making me look good, man. Thanks for making me look good. Thank you, I appreciate it. Tosh, 52nd career double-double.
But here's where it gets interesting. The referees looked determined to keep Aliyah Wilson in the game, handing out soft fouls and phantom calls that had Fever fans erupting in boos. Wilson was getting the full superstar treatment, and every time Indiana started to build momentum, a whistle seemed to halt their run in her favor. It was obvious the reigning MVP was getting a different standard, but instead of folding, the Fever dug in deeper. They weren't going to let a tilted whistle break their spirit.
I hope that you sense, you see, and you feel when we play that kind of defense, the difference that it makes. Defense travels, defense wins games, defense wins championships. We were great on the boards as well. Continue to buy into that elite level defense consistently, every day. That is our standard. That is our standard. 1, 2, 3.
Kelsey Mitchell had other plans. She came out on fire from beyond the arc, drilling tough shots with defenders in her face and silencing every Las Vegas run before it could gain traction. But this wasn't just about scoring. Mitchell was hitting backbreaking threes at the exact moments her team needed them most, each one pushing the lead further and swinging momentum back in Indiana's favor. Her confidence radiated through the entire roster, lifting the energy on both ends of the floor. Mitchell didn't just play like a star, she looked like someone who had been waiting her whole career for this spotlight.
Here's Kelsey Mitchell, flips it to Howard, who lays it in. And Indiana's offense humming here in the opening 3 minutes. He hit 3 threes in that win on Tuesday. They're high on the season. Mitchell, shifty, gets to the rim.
Oh, it's the rescreen by Boston, and then this is rhythm here. Screen, rescreen, the twist action, the switch, and then watch the bump right here. Once you get the defender right next to you, Pat.
That's Boston's 5th rebound here tonight. He is 6th in the league on the glass coming into the night. Mitchell, beautiful pass, 2 more for Boston.
Watch this right here. Just the pitch back, the ball screen, the shake up, throw over the top.
So it's an 8-1 run to start the third quarter here for Las Vegas. Bounce pass inside. Mitchell lays it in. Pretty finish.
Aliyah Boston finally got the touches she'd been missing all season, and she made every one of them count. With improved ball movement and a clear effort to feed her in the post, Boston went to work, scoring over Aya Wilson, crashing the boards, and playing with the kind of physicality and confidence that defined her college dominance. She looked completely unlocked, a star finally able to play her natural game, and the result was a reminder of just how dangerous she can be when the offense runs through her.
Wilson coming off a masterful performance, 26 and 18, and Boston will take it right at her. Sets up Howard, the Commissioner's Cup MVP, has us on the board. She kind of slowly worked her way in as there's the head coach of the Aces, Becky Hammond. And here is Boston right up the middle, untouched. Underneath into a triple team, bounces for Howard, patience, and a finish.
She's had 2 offensive fouls, too, off the ball.
Mitchell finds Boston and gets it to go.
I mean, it's a clinic right now.
Caught by surprise by the move. Life in professional sports, certainly the WNBA moves fast. And her former teammate, Aliyah Boston, gets inside and finishes through her.
The lead kept ballooning, no matter what was thrown at the Fever. 10 points turned into 15, then 20, and suddenly the Aces looked completely outmatched by a team they were expected to dominate. Natasha Howard anchored the defense with a masterclass performance, swatting shots, securing rebounds, and bringing the same relentless intensity that earned her Commissioner's Cup MVP honors. Her veteran presence and championship mindset elevated the entire squad. As the reality of a 27-point blowout set in, Gainbridge Fieldhouse erupted. Fans were on their feet, celebrating every bucket like it was a title clincher. Players who had been overlooked were stepping up with game-changing plays, and the Fever weren't just upsetting the defending champs, they were dismantling them in front of a sold-out crowd. It wasn't supposed to happen, but it was, and it was glorious.
And I think we kind of deserved it based on our preparation and everything that we had been through prior to this game. And I think you guys got to see what it looked like for us to stay resilient throughout the course of, 48 hours. We just played, in Minnesota, and we got to prepare for this. And you guys got to see what it's like for us to be.
After the game, Kelsey Mitchell revealed the 3 words that had fueled her all season: "We deserve it." Her voice carried raw emotion, and in that moment, those words summed up everything the Fever had endured, playing without Caitlin Clark, weathering criticism, and suffering years of losses to Las Vegas. But through grit and belief, Mitchell and her teammates had earned every second of this victory. The post-game scenes were unforgettable, tears of joy, heartfelt hugs, and fans celebrating alongside players who had waited far too long for a night like this. This wasn't just a win, it was a statement that the Fever are more than just Caitlin Clark. They're a real team, battle-tested, and capable of beating anyone when they play as one.
Defense. It sounds like cliche, man, but I swear, when we are able to be who we need to be offensively, it's because our defense is fueled by it. Getting deflections isn't going to play in transition. You get to see the best version of players and pros once we get the defensive stops that we need.
This victory gave us a crystal clear preview of what the Fever are building toward in 2025. What we saw wasn't a fluke or a lucky night, it was a full team showcase that revealed the true depth and resilience within Indiana's roster. Players who have been living in Caitlin Clark's shadow stepped into the spotlight and proved they absolutely belong on this stage. And to all the doubters who claimed the Fever were nothing without their superstar, to those who said this team would fall apart without her scoring and playmaking, this 27-point demolition of the defending champs was the loudest rebuttal possible. Indiana has real talent across the board, and they just reminded everyone that they're far more than a one-woman show.
Here's Kelsey Mitchell, flips it to Howard, who lays it in, and Indiana's offense humming here in the opening 3 minutes. She hit 3 threes in that win on Tuesday. Her high on the season. Mitchell, shifty, gets to the rim.
Oh, it's the rescreen by Boston, and then this is rhythm here. Screen, rescreen, the twist action, the switch, and then watch the bump right here. Once you get the defender right next to you, Pat.
That's Boston's 5th rebound here tonight. She is 6th in the league on the glass coming into the night. Mitchell, beautiful pass. 2 more for Boston.
Watch this right here. Just the pitch back, the ball screen, the shake up, throw over the top.
So it's an 8-1 run to start the 3rd quarter here for Las Vegas. Bound pass inside. Mitchell lays it in. That's pretty.
Kelsey Mitchell proved she's a legitimate star capable of carrying the Fever when it matters most. Her clutch three-point shooting and composure in pressure moments made it clear she's not just a complementary piece, she's ready to be the second option on a championship-caliber team. Mitchell has officially outgrown the role of a role player, she's now a certified bucket-getter who can take over games against elite opponents. That breakout performance against the Aces felt like her long-overdue coming-out party. Meanwhile, Aliyah Boston's dominant showing signaled her arrival as a true franchise cornerstone. She controlled the paint against Aya Wilson with authority, flashing the post moves and defensive presence that made her a college legend. For the first time all season, Boston looked fully comfortable and confident, anchoring both ends of the floor and giving Indiana a powerful foundation to build around for years to come.
A 22-point lead down to 13, and it took less than 4 minutes. Lexi Hall, a much-needed answer for Indiana.
The championship-level defense and unshakable team chemistry were on full display against the Aces. Players switched effortlessly, communicated non-stop, and brought the kind of relentless intensity it takes to beat the league's best. This wasn't about individual heroics, it was pure, high-level team basketball. Now picture what happens when a healthy Caitlin Clark rejoins this battle-tested, confident squad. The Fever aren't just a team with potential anymore, they're a legitimate threat, fully capable of contending for championships.
Here for the Aces. McDonald back on the attack, lays it in, right around Wilson.
This win changed everything for the Indiana Fever. The chemistry, confidence, and grit they built by dismantling the Aces will fuel them through the rest of the season. Kelsey Mitchell and Aliyah Boston proved they can rise under pressure and deliver when the lights are brightest. The Fever are no longer just Caitlin Clark's team, they're a fully formed, legitimate contender built for long-term success. Now imagine what happens when Clark returns healthy to a group that's already battle-tested and thriving. These teammates just showed they can win without her, now add her elite playmaking and scoring to the mix, and you've got a team that's genuinely dangerous. If you're riding with the Fever, comment, "I've got the Fever," like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. Click the video on screen, we'll see you in the next one.